On today's show, the new movie Freakier Friday came out, and I have not seen it, but I know the premise based on the old one. Lindsay Lohan, shout out, Jamie Lee Curtis. So today we're doing an experiment where I'm pulling up random team generators, and we're deciding whether the Warriors have a better situation or whether we'd want to switch with said franchise. Plus, taking a look at the top 100 as voted on by Locked On NBA. Matt Kolsky on the show today to break it all down. Let's go.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
What are they going to say now?
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Locked On Warriors. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can find this show on YouTube. You can find it wherever you get your audio podcast. We are always free and never behind a paywall. The content's starting up soon, but until the Golden State Warriors are back at camp and until we get some real press conferences and real stories coming out and real contracts being signed, it's a whole lot of what we've had this offseason. We are making lemonade out of some very, very rotten lemons. And the man that joins the program today, it's Matt Kolsky, who's been with me to document this just magnificent offseason for Golden State Warriors fans, where I do my best. Like the higher powers at the Locked On Sports Podcast Network never go on the air and act like nothing is happening. What do you want me to do, fellas? Come on now. Good to see you, Kolsky.
Hey, listen, we're making lemonade out of Jonathan Kuminga's misery, and that's the lot we've been dealt this offseason. But I love this Freakier Friday idea. I do have one question. When we're talking about the Warriors situation, who's on the roster? Or is it the precise situation that we're in at this very moment?
We will go with, for the experiment, we'll go with Horford, Melton, and Kuminga. Okay. We'll go with those three as guarantees, and then whether it's Seth Curry or Malcolm Brogdon or whatever. That's I don't think that's going to change the opinions that we have of whether we would trade places with, say, the Orlando Magic. So are you ready to go, Matt Kolsky?
I'm ready. Let's rock and roll.
For the first time ever on this show, we welcome in another tab. For those of you watching on YouTube, hit that like right now and show your support for me being able to use technology. Spin that wheel. Here we go. Who would we want to trade places with? The Toronto Raptors, who right now have one of the strangest collections of expensive talent in the NBA. Not a lot of space, you would imagine, on their floor. Some dudes that are pretty much half-court players, it feels like. Not a lot of three-point shooters unless Grady Dick can really step up in that department. The Toronto Raptors, this is not 2019. Would you trade places with Toronto right now?
This is an easy no, right? I mean, absolutely not. No way, no how. No, sir. Thank you very much.
I think I'd take every other team in the NBA truly over being in the Toronto Raptors situation because they've paid Piper, right? I mean, there are a lot of teams, at least like with the Washington Wizards, they know they're going to suck. They don't have that expensive of a roster to blow things up if they need to. They have some flexibility. Like Toronto, unless they think they're trading RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, or they're not trading Brandon Ingram at this point. Like they're going to have to make it work. And there is that like 1% possibility that they catch lightning in a bottle and they're actually pretty good. But I just look at the pieces that they have on that team and they don't seem to complement one another.
It's a weird team. Certainly. Man, would I take anyone else over the Raptors? It's close. Like they're around the bottom, certainly. I will say, I believe that Scotty Barnes is a legitimate long-term high-level player in the league. I don't know how far that gets you. I don't know that he's ever the best player on a title team, which means you probably don't have anyone who could be that on this roster. And if he is the best player on the title team, it's got to be a very deep team with some other real guys on it. He's not going to be a top 5 player in the league, I don't think. So, yeah, it's tough, But like you said, there's talent here, right? I mean, Brandon Ingram seems like nobody loves him, but he's certainly a talented, skilled basketball player. He can do a lot of things. RJ Barrett is not an all-star, but he can do a lot of things. He's pretty
Averages
talented.
21 a game.
I'm saying, right? Like you said, great.
They win a stats off, man. Like you go down the box score. The issue is it's like your little cousin put the team together on 2K, but you go down the box score. It's like 21, 19, 18, 17, 15. They got some dudes that can put it in the bucket.
Yeah, so. Nobody's a little cousin is a Brandon Ingram fan. Let's not kid ourselves. But like I said, there's talent here, but it's a big old mess. And certainly you would not trade places with the Raptors if you were the Warriors.
So the Toronto Raptors have been eliminated. We would not trade places. If we woke up in the morning in Raptors jerseys, we'd all say, damn it. What the hell? We got to go back to that Chinese restaurant and find the fortune cookie that switched everything up in Freaky Friday. I don't know about
here. You know way more about.
I had little sisters. Yes, I had little sisters. That was on the old. You remember in the Chevys back in the day, you'd have like the built-in TVs.
Screen,
yeah, and we had that on repeat. Freaky Friday. So anyway, spin that wheel. The Boston Celtics. Would you trade places right now with the Boston Celtics?
Oh, man. This is one of the most interesting questions. Great job by the wheel on this one. Oh, Chuck, I might need more time to think about it. I mean, here are your considerations, right? A year ago this time, you obviously trade places with the Boston Celtics, right? Coming off a title, favored to win another, if not several more. Of course, I think. Look, we're taking the love of Steph Curry out of this, right? We're taking even my love for my guy right here out of this. I don't think you can argue that last year you would have made the deal. Now, I mean, as crazy as this may sound, look, obviously the Warriors have the better chance of winning a title this year, however distant that chance may be. Without Jason Tatum, there's not much chance for the Celtics. I could make the argument that after the way they sort of cleaned house to get cap compliant and
Anthony Simons.
Well, I mean, look, it's not about Anthony Simons. It's about clearing all the money, right? And they did, and that helps them in the future. But it also leaves a level of uncertainty heading into next year about how good will Jason Tatum look in his first year coming off an Achilles? How good will the team around him be at that point? What does it look like this year in terms of how they evaluate the other players they want to stick around to play with Jason Tatum when he comes back? I'm saying all this to say there's at least an argument to be made that the Warriors' chances of winning a title, even the following season, not this coming one, but the following one, are probably at least on par with how you would handicap the Celtics today. That being said, the next 5 years after that project much better for the Celtics, right? You've got one of the best young, I mean, he's not 19 anymore, but Jason Tatum remains a young basketball player. And he is, we've seen guys come back physically now from Achilles enough for me to believe that at what is he? I'm looking it up right now. He is 27 now, so he'll be 28, which is, the normal physical prime of a basketball player. I believe he'll come back pretty well from that Achilles, fingers crossed. And I believe in the long-term potential of a team led by Jason Tatum. There is nobody on the Warriors roster right now that you can say that about.
There is a buddy.
No, you can't say you can trust anyone's ability to lead this team 5 years down the line.
There's no buddy. And I said, there is a buddy.
Oh, there's a buddy.
And you can trust him in the team 3 years down the line, because I'm pretty sure Buddy Hield at this point is going to be the last of the Warriors standing.
Yeah, I said lead the team, Chuck. Lead the team. So
what do you do in Game 7, man? I mean,
I love Buddy. I don't want to crack on Buddy, but he's certainly no Jason Tatum. And he's also a lot older than Jason Tatum. So
Oklahoma Buddy Hield was better than Duke Jason Tatum.
I guess the question for this becomes, how long am I Freaky Fridaying for? Is this a temporary, like in the movie? Is it temporary? Or are we switching back at
I
the
don't
end
know,
of the
dude. I
season?
haven't seen the sequel. I don't know what happens. I don't know if
Maybe
it's a
it's
week. I don't
permanent.
know. Yeah, it may be. So
Ah.
here's the name of the experiment, though. The fact that we have to think about it means that there are a lot worse situations to be in the NBA. So far, we got a absolutely not. We're not switching places, and we have a give me a few minutes to stew on it. This
I
is
think
Locked
the
On
answer,
Warriors.
Chuck, is no. I think no, I wouldn't trade if I was the Warriors, because I'm presuming that it's a 1 or 2 year experiment. And I still like the Warriors next year or two better than what the Celtics have with Tatum hurt.
Amen. Let's keep spinning that wheel when we come back. Also, we're getting into the NBA's top 100 list that was revealed by Locked On. 3 Warriors in that top 100. Any snubs? We're going to get to that. That's coming up. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just want a little push to power through your day, 5-Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. Wildest shot I've ever made? Well, it was a total fluke, not well calculated. Has anyone in my golf group ever tried to pull off a ridiculous bet like a hole-in-one? No one has ever done that. But golf is about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape ginger lime flavor of 5-Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the beverage cart. Now you can amp up on the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win the dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the USA. That is awesome. Tee up that trip by visiting 5hourwin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Master Tournament. That's 5-he-win.com. Ends October 31st, 2025. You can find that link on the screen on YouTube. That is 5hewin.com for more info. All right, Kolsky, back to the wheel of potentially fortune as the Boston Celtics have been eliminated. Who will the Golden State Warriors be trading places with? You can't trade places with yourself. All right. Well, that's what the wheel spins on. So that's what we're gonna do here. The Golden State Warriors trade places with the Golden State Warriors. Is there any way we could can we spin this somehow, or do I just eliminate that and resume the wheel?
Yeah, you got to spin the wheel again, my friend.
I was trying to think of something clever, and I'm like, I don't think there's anything clever there. I'm just gonna put my mind in a pretzel. All right, spinning the wheel. The San Antonio Spurs. Would you trade places right now with the San Antonio Spurs if you were the Golden State Warriors, whether it's a 1 or 2 year assignment to where you're trying to track down your body? Would you? My answer is no. I would take the Spurs situation as of right now, even though they haven't done anything in a long time.
That's a yes then, right? You would make the deal.
Yes. So if I made the deal and woke up in Chris Brown's body or whatever it may be, I'm not looking for said party. I'm just gonna be like, okay, we got Wembanyama, we got Dylan Harper, we got a multitude of guards, we got Castle and Vassell and Keldon Johnson, and
Did you even
cool.
say De'Aaron Fox yet?
No, I forgot about him.
I mean, listen, for all
they look good on paper.
They look fun more than anything. Right? I don't know exactly what that's going to look like. It's a lot of young guys. But I am very interested to see what it's going to look like. And I do have the guy who I would say is most likely to be the next face of the league, best player in the league, whenever that sort of gets resolved. Because right now it's probably still Jokic, but there's a spot. Especially because Jokic is not, a LeBron, Steph, media-friendly level guy. Wembanyama, to me, is the obvious prediction for who's next as the dude in the league. And he's already the presumptive defensive player of the year walking in. So It'd be hard to turn that down, I'm afraid.
That it would. Next up, as we spin the wheel, the Golden State Warriors will be trading places with this is a tough one, the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah. Cade Cunningham is a hell of a talent. I mean, look, the first thing I'm thinking about, and the reason it's such an easy no for the Raptors and a difficult yes for the Celtics, is the first thing I'm looking for is, does this team have a player that I believe can lead a team to a title? I believe Cade Cunningham can be that level of player. But in the same way that, like, it's hard to count on a guy with an Achilles injury in Boston, it's hard. It's a little early for me to go Detroit over what the Warriors can still do. Maybe it's just that I have a hard time breaking my brain out of its pattern. But I just have a fundamental belief in Steph Curry and Draymond Green.
Can I ask you this?
Jimmy Butler, frankly.
If Detroit would have gone like the Houston method, and let's say literally they got Kevin Durant this offseason and didn't really have to give up a ton to get him. Let's say they gave up like Ivy for Kevin Durant and some picks for Kevin Durant. Would that put them over the top to you? Like, are they a star away? Are they a free agent haul away? Or is it more than that to you? Because they're an interesting team. I mean, Warriors took care of them, I think, a couple times last year.
I mean, if you just swapped, Ivy, who I think is one of the reasons to be excited about Detroit's potential to improve, but also wasn't on the team last year because of injury, effectively. If you swapped him for Durant, yeah, I think I probably would. I mean, Cade Cunningham, Asar Thompson, who, didn't pop like his brother, but certainly has a similar profile and is exceptionally talented. Throw Kevin Durant in there, you really got something, especially in the East. And look, the East is there for the taking this year, so that factors into this too. The Celtics are down. What is Cleveland really? I don't think anybody knows. The Knicks, yeah, they're great, but does that have legs in the playoffs? They have a new head coach. Like, there's a lot of questions at the top of the East, so it's there for the taking. And yeah, if it was Durant, sure. Adding Ivy, losing Beasley, I feel like this team is treading water a little bit, but it's a lot of young guys that could improve. And if Ivy looks like the guy they were hoping to draft when they picked him 4th overall or whatever it was, then I think this team has a real chance to do some damage in the Eastern Conference. But, that puts them kind of on par. I think the Warriors have a real chance to do some damage in the Western Conference. And that was, I said the scenario for Detroit was projecting pretty well for their young players. So in some ways, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. And obviously, if you stretch these timelines out,
it's a different story.
More appealing to trade away the Warriors, because in a few years, it's almost guaranteed that none of the guys who matter to the Warriors this year will even be here in a few years.
Yeah, if you were running around looking for the shapeshifter to trade you back 3 years from now, I think you'd pretty much trade with not just about anyone, because like we said, teams like the Raptors may be stuck if they're not any good, and the Warriors at least have like the flexibility to move a completely different route. But there are a lot of teams that have like franchise players in place. Cade Cunningham with the Pistons in place. Those aren't always easy to find. And the Warriors, like, clearly after Steph Curry, they don't have that guy that you can count on 1,000%. Many teams in this league do. How about the next team that we look at? And they don't have Durant, but they do have Duran, who I really like as well. I think a lot of people sleep on Jalen Duran. He's nice. All right, let's do 2 more spins. And the point of this exercise is just to show you that for all the doom and gloom from time to time within Dub Nation, it's not all bad. We can enjoy things these next couple of years. Spin that wheel. It lands on the Atlanta Hawks. They're giving us good ones, man. They're giving us good ones.
Nah, it's not a good one. Spin it again. Never.
You don't think the Atlanta Hawks are on the rise?
I'm gonna trade Steph Curry for Steph Curry's, less
Goofy
able
cousin?
cousin. I don't think so. No, thank you.
All right.
Hard
eliminated. No. Eliminated. Sorry, Atlanta. We'll do one more after this. The Los Angeles Lakers.
Wow. Yeah. Sorry.
You trade?
Yeah.
You want Luka?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really that simple.
Okay.
I know Warrior fans will get mad at this. I don't even know that they have a better, I would venture that the title odds for the next 2 years for these two franchises are not so wildly different. But
I have
I
no
I
idea.
I
I
just
think
don't
it's
know
a flip
how.
a coin this year on which team's going to be better.
Yeah,
Truly.
I agree. I agree. Unless, we'll see what happens with
Maybe
various
4 or
trades
5.
or anything. But yeah, those could be those two teams both look like something between the 4th and 7th seed to me right now this season. But as incredible as Steph Curry is, as much as he has certainly proven himself as a winner above and beyond what Luka has ever done, I got to take a 26-year-old Luka over a
Yeah.
37-year-old Steph Curry. I just have to.
You get the 2-for-1 special. You get a team that maybe is equal to you right now, plus you get a franchise player that's locked up for the foreseeable future, whereas the Warriors don't necessarily have that. Now, if anything goes awry, if Luka gets hurt, if something changes with the status of his career, then you'd much rather have the Warriors' flexibility, which is not tied to anyone.
Right.
But as of right now, what we know about the Lakers, what we know about Luka, I think that's a pretty fair assessment.
I mean, look, if the next face of the league ain't Wembanyama, it's probably that guy.
One more spin to rule them all. And it is, would you trade places with the Washington Wizards?
Nah, I'm afraid not. No, I would not. Although I will say, and this is interesting probably in regards to your comment about the Raptors earlier. I actually think like the Washington Wizards are in a better spot than they've been in quite some time. They at least are,
they're cheap. They're young and cheap. That's
they're
not
young
the
and
worst
cheap.
way to
They've
build
they've cleared the decks, and
I like Bob.
Yeah, they're letting young guys play, and Bob Carrington's a great example of the sort of guy who
Competitor, man.
he cares and he competes and he's tough and he takes some terrible shots and his efficiency is not so good right now. But sometimes a guy like that needs to play it out for a year or two and to figure out what works, because he really, he's kind of a badass, right? Like, he's not great yet. And if he's playing 30 minutes a night or whatever he ends up playing this season, you're probably not going anywhere as a team right now, but that could be incredibly valuable down the line. So of course not. I'm not trading what the Warriors have for the Wizards, but at the same time, the Wizards seem to be in a healthier spot. And guys like Chris Middleton and CJ McCollum are veterans that aren't going to make a mess of things and that will probably be good role models for your young players until you find a trade for them. So the design of the Wizards makes a certain amount of sense right now. So I will at least give them that.
The design of the team makes sense. That's
dude, it's low bar.
It's the nicest way you can put it. They're going to suck this upcoming season, but I like the way the team is designed.
They're pretty bad, but they're not as pathetically useless as they have been for many frankly, for much of my lifetime.
Yes. So NBA top 100, who was snubbed? The Warriors on the list. Kolsky's thoughts on the entire thing. We'll fly through it. That's coming up on Locked On Warriors. First, I've been telling you about my favorite jeans wear. It is Doer. It's not just the jeans. It's also, it's jeans wear. You can get the shirts, the flannels too. These are the stretch slims. That's my favorite. 5 times the stretch of your traditional jeans. They're very flexible, antibacterial, which means they stay fresh longer, so you can wear more, wash less. They got Cool Max technology. It regulates your temperature, wicks moisture. It's perfect for those unpredictable San Francisco days/nights where it may be 72 at 3 o'clock, and then by 6, it's 58 with some wind gusting. I wear the Doer jeans to work. I wear them to sporting events. I wear them for a night out of town. And, if I'm going down to Fort Funston on a walk, I'm wearing them as well, because they combine the classic jeanswear style with the comfort and the performance of athletic wear, the best of both worlds. Once you try them, they will be your go-to. Visit their new store that's now open. It's 567 Hayes Street in Hayes Valley. Mention my code LOCKEDONSF. You'll get 15% off your first order, or shop online at shopdoer.com/LockedOnSF. That is Doer, D-U-E-R, and you'll get 15% off. Let's get back to the show. All right, you ready for some rankings, man? You ready?
Sure, I love a ranking. Why not? Let's rank.
We'll fly through them. Steph Curry, what do you think he's ranked by my colleagues at the Locked On Podcast Network? Just give me a number. Don't think too hard.
6.
You were close. He's 5th right now, behind Luka Doncic at 4. Anthony Edwards is there at 6. I do want to ask you about Wembanyama at 7.
I think that's where I think this is where I would have. I think I would have.
I thought 5 was perfect for Steph, honestly. I think you could argue 4.
Yeah, but look, you could argue 2. But I think this is almost exactly what I would have for the top 5 and top 6. God, this is tough. Why is Tatum even on the list? I don't know what you do with Jason Tatum right now.
The whole list is a little bit wonky, to say the least. Like, you got Halliburton at 13, then Joel Embiid's all the way down in like the 50s, and it's like, well, Embiid isn't that far removed from being a nice player. Like, come on now. If we're incorporating injuries,
he's not that far removed from being MVP. So yeah, it's tricky to deal with the injuries. So I have some sympathy for that. But I don't have a huge problem with Wembanyama that high. I mean, listen, there's always a different conversation between who has accomplished the most and who is the best right now. Jalen Brunson has undeniably accomplished more than Victor Wembanyama. But if I gave you the choice, we're playing a basketball game today. You want Big Vic or Little J? I don't know. It's not an easy call.
well, if that's the way that we're doing this experiment, like, with all due respect to Steph Curry, you're talking last 2 years of a career, potentially 3 years, as compared to a 3-year-old Victor Wembanyama. Like, I'm taking Wemby over most of those guys.
I don't know.
Youth sells,
Steph
right?
Curry is a little different. Yeah, but I'm talking about today. We're not drafting for the future, right? So
I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea. Once you see the list, you'll kind of wonder, like, what exactly went into the criteria of putting this together. And it's tough, right? Because
it's no shade to Locked On, because it's always this way, right? There's never, no matter what criteria was given, there's never enough criteria to make a list like this perfect. It just doesn't happen.
no Warriors 11 through 20, Durant's 11, LeBron's 12. I mentioned Halliburton, Cade Cunningham coming in at 15, and then Jalen Williams, Santa Clara, in at 20.
Mm-hmm. That's
so
good for him.
Yeah, nothing too crazy there, I would say. I mean, you could switch Devin Booker up with probably whoever's at 21, or,
Who is it? 21
at 21, Jaylen Brown.
Okay. Right. So this is where it gets really tricky, right?
Jimmy Butler at 29, by the way, right behind Ja Morant at 28, and in front of Chet Holmgren at 30. It's tricky with Jimmy, right? If you're looking at the overall stats, Jimmy's going to be one of the lowest people on this top 50. But it's all the other intangibles that he brings, and just a winning mentality, to where, I mean, the issue is you go up and down this list, it's like Pascal Siakam, Jaylen Brown, Darius Garland. It is a tough list, but
yeah, but how do we, I mean, it's just so hard to know how you rate. Like, I would have Jimmy Butler over James Harden.
I would too.
At the same time, you've got Ja Morant here at 28, and he's barely played. Jaren Jackson Jr., who's been carrying the team that Ja Morant is supposed to be carrying, not to very much, but carrying them nonetheless.
How much parity is there in the NBA just by looking at this list?
Well, what's crazy is you get this group after those top, whatever it is, 8, 9, 10, 12 guys. It just starts to get murky. Like how do we justify Kyrie Irving at 40? You know what I mean? I don't.
Behind Zubac. And Zubac's is nice, don't get me wrong, but
No,
Kyrie's like 27 and 8 every year for the last 6 years.
right. And what precisely what has Franz Wagner done to be above some of the other guys on this list? At the same point, you know, you look at someone like Derek White and Tyrese Maxey, and if you're in a vacuum or certainly playing one-on-one, like you're grabbing Tyrese Maxey every time. But we all know what Derek White does for a team. So how do we weigh that against, you know, the level of scorer that someone like Tyrese Maxey or Kyrie Irving can be? I don't know how to do that.
41 through 50. A name that's interesting, I think, that the 47-48 combo is interesting. Zion at 47, LaMelo Ball at 48. It's a conversation I brought up earlier, specifically with LaMelo Ball. We can also go into the 50s, and you'll see a player like Lauri Markkanen's in there.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, just going down the list, there are players in the, you know, DeMar DeRozan, whatever, Brandon Ingram, players that a lot of people would point to and say, that's not a winning basketball player. They get their stats, they can score, they can help you win some games, but overall, when it comes down to like that winning mentality, doing the things that your team needs you to do, they're just kind of not those types of dudes. And my argument always is the Andrew Wiggins, to where he was kind of labeled that way. He goes on a team that's winning, he buys into his role. You can be changed. With someone like LaMelo Ball in there at 48, we don't know what he is. I mean, we know that he can stuff a stat sheet and is electrifying, but I mean,
we know
team
some
has
things.
Sucked.
Yeah, it has. We know some things. By the way, the example you're talking about, we're staring right at another guy who fits that category perfectly, and Aaron Gordon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody thought he was a winning player in Orlando, and he has been the ultimate winning player for the Denver Nuggets. So, you know, LaMelo Ball is never going to be that. I don't think. It's just not his style or personality. He is tremendously exciting. He sees the floor and can pass the ball at a level and with a style that few guys in the history of the game have been capable of. He's also fond of terrible shots and goofy antics. So it's just, you never know. And would that part change in a more serious environment? Quite possibly. It's hard to say. His brother is a real true professional, you know. Lonzo has never been goofy, right? Like he's had problems, mostly injury problems, but he's never been goofy. So I don't know. Maybe that could work for LaMelo, but yeah, it's hard to imagine him higher given what little he's actually accomplished.
We'll finish with the 50s. We're not going to go all the way through 100, although I did do an episode on our page revealing the top 100 if you want to check that out. My apologies for the music running the entire time underneath. I listened back to it and I'm like, God, that's going to drive someone insane. Just the same song on loop for 32 minutes. But that's what happens when I don't wear the headphones. So sorry about it. I'm human. I'm producing this thing myself, directing, hosting. I'm Jackie Moon. Rudy Gobert at 51 is kind of interesting because that's a rim protector, man. That is a specialist. And to be stuffed all the way down at 51, when you look at the tab before him and see a player like,
Tyler Hero.
It's hard. There are some good players. Yeah, Tyler Hero, maybe we'll throw him in there, or Jalen Johnson because he was hurt.
Yeah, but Jalen Johnson,
he's awesome.
Yeah, he's an exciting young player.
Embiid 52, Draymond Green 53. Let's finish with Draymond Green at 53. Do you like that spot? Is that fair? He's right in front of Lillard, Markkanen, and Trey Murphy.
It's a weird spot. Right. I mean, Lillard and Embiid are surrounding him because of injury. I'm not sure why. I know what Rudy Gobert does. I just don't think there's much doubt that if they're both healthy, Draymond Green brings more to your team than Rudy Gobert. I just don't. Rudy is actively useless on offense, to the point where sometimes you can't play him. And he can have some trouble defensively if he's targeted in the right way. Now, that's not to diminish his tremendous value as a rim protector, which you already mentioned, arguably the best in the league, probably second best after Victor Wembanyama. But Draymond defends 5 positions and plays point guard. I don't
He's valuable.
yeah, he can't shoot, and he's a bit of a wild card.
You know how I
But,
explained it earlier, man? I explained it like he's one of those dudes where he's the finishing touch. He's like the cherry on a sundae, like Herb Jones is. Like Herb Jones isn't going to win the Pelicans any games, but when you throw him in there around a team that's already championship caliber, like that's exactly what you need. But you saw in like the Wolves series when Steph goes down, like Draymond's not giving you a ton at all. If his defense, if he's not able to stop someone like Julius Randle, you look at him and you're like, that's not a top 60 player in the NBA. But when everything's working, he's very valuable to this team. That's for sure.
Yeah, right. I mean, all those things are true, but Rudy Gobert also can't shoot, and also can't shoot free throws at all, and also is a goofball. Like I don't know.
I'll let the Locked On team know that they need to swap those 53 and 51.
It would make me feel better just swapping those two. But honestly, these things are so hard, Chuck. I don't know how anybody does it.
One more spin for the way out. The Denver Nuggets. I'd probably trade that situation. So Kolsky,
there's a few easy yeses, and that's one of them.
Yeah, that's no shade to the Golden State Warriors. That's just a Denver team that appears to be very, very good and one of the Warriors' toughest competition this season. Locked On Warriors, free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. For Matt Kolsky, Chuck Walter, see ya.